Hey everyone, this is Kenji. My camera's a little smudged. I'm here at home, and today we're going to be making some vegetables finally. So I have some polenta here, and some leeks, and I got some other vegetables in the fridge, but we're going to be making a polenta soup. Very easy. The way we start, we get our leek. We don't need this whole thing. I'm going to split it in half like this. Take off the outer layers. Check to make sure there's no sand in there. Sometimes there's sand in there. This guy looks pretty clean, so we're just going to use them. And I'm going to strips like that, and then crosswise. I'm going to get a little skillet going here. Sorry, not a skillet, a sautéing. This is a 2-quart sautéing. I'm making enough soup for like 3 people. We'll do a little butter and some olive oil. Oh, there's a little bit of water left in there. About 2 tablespoons of butter. We're gonna get our leeks going in there. So with leeks, we don't want to brown them or anything. We just want to kind of let them kind of melt in here. They're really nice and soft. Pinch of salt is going to help that. It'll draw out some of the liquid. So kind of lowish heat. You know, I'm going to grab some of this garlic. Just a gentle tap to get the skins off. All right, let's trim this guy down a little. Get those icky spots off. All right, ready? I'm gonna cut them. You know, some people, you can cut them crosswise like that. Some people cut them to slivers. I usually like to cut them kind of like at a half angle. I just find it's easier to get nice looking slices. So what I do is I'll cut about halfway through and then go onto its flat side like that. I don't know if you can see it. So I was cutting this way, and then I rotate it like that. Good enough. Grab my bench scraper. Don't have to worry too much about this. It doesn't have to get super soft like the way you would if you were saying like making like a leek or blanc or like really melted leeks. We just want them to kind of sweat out and tenderize just a little bit. They're going to finish cooking in the soup. Meanwhile, let's see what else we got here. On the soup, we got kale. I'm going to take these maitake mushrooms. I'll save those ones. Maitake mushrooms and maybe a little pumpkin. And I have this chicken stock that I made earlier. Actually, I made a video of that chicken stock. I just haven't posted it yet, but I will at some point. I made a video breaking down a couple chickens and making a couple different types of stock. So kale's going to go in at the end. But we can start cleaning it now. Use about half of this kale, maybe a quarter of it. Take those tough stems out. A couple of years ago, I was on an episode of Guy's Grocery Games, and in the final round, I very stupidly left the stems on my kale. You know, one of those dumb things you do under pressure. So I made a dish that I thought was pretty good, but I left the stems on the kale, and that is a big bad error in the kitchen because they're tough and not very edible. Oh well. So I did not win. That's okay. It was all for fun. All in good fun. Rough chopping that. All right, let's see how our leeks are doing. All right, they're looking nice and soft now. Whoop. I don't know who that is. Dogs are door alarms. All right. Got chicken stock. That is a quart of chicken stock that I made the other day. And for this, that thing is still clicking, huh? For this recipe, we want to go with about a half cup of dried polenta per quart of chicken stock. So this is polenta. Oh, cup measures, I don't know. All right, we'll do 2 of these quarter cup measures. And if you want to be real careful about it, you can whisk while that goes in, so that it doesn't clump up. But with this much broth, especially when it's starting cold like this, doesn't really make much difference. So this is going to come out sort of like a porridgey texture, as opposed to you know, a much thicker sort of I guess more like a soupy texture, as opposed to like the super porridgey oatmeal-like texture of like a more traditional polenta that you would have, say, with like braised meats or a ragu. This dish actually based on something that Alice Waters does at Chez Panisse. So she does a polenta soup with olive oil and kale that I find delicious. So we're doing basically that, made with chicken broth, kale, and for now some we're gonna add this kale in. Oh, and let me clean up some of these mushrooms. Let's get this pumpkin in there too. This is kabocha squash, which is one of my favorite types of pumpkin. It's great because the skins are completely edible also. Let's say about that much is good. Save the rest of that. Just need to scoop out the seeds. Just split this in half. And I'm gonna do kind of, what shape should I do? I'm just gonna do kind of little slices like this. Those take about, I don't know, 7 minutes to simmer down, I would guess. So I'll add them in a little bit later as well. The polenta itself takes about 20 minutes to soften up. So once I'm done with this, I'm gonna let you guys go about your business, and then join me again. Actually, no, first we'll do the mushrooms. Packaging, I hate packaging. Oh my goodness, this is a lot of plastic here. Look at this double layer of packaging. I should start buying these from the bulk bin. Maitake mushrooms, hen of the woods, one of my favorites. They're really good, sort of roasted whole like this. You put them in a cast iron pan, drizzle with olive oil, roast them in the oven. They're excellent like that. They're also excellent sautéed. I'm going to sauté these and use them as garnish. Trim off the bottoms. I'll save those for stock. Break up the tops a little bit. Another bottom there. All right. Let me get some bowls. Some bowls. Oh, people ask me about this cutting board. So this cutting board, actually, I got one of my first, actually my very first sort of fancy restaurant job was at Number 9 Park in Boston. Barbara Lynch is the chef. It's still there. It's an excellent restaurant. That bowl's way too small for this. And at some point, the Boston Health Department decided that wooden cutting boards were no longer allowed in kitchens. Everyone had to switch to plastic boards, which actually now most evidence shows that plastic is in fact more dangerous than wood because there are sort of natural antibacterial properties in wood that help them stay more sterile than plastic does. Anyhow, they made everyone switch to plastic boards, and so the restaurant had a whole bunch of these really nice boards that they couldn't use anymore. So Barbara gave them away to her cooks, which was very nice of her, and I've kept mine now for, let's see, that was in 2002, so 18 years. I've had to refinish it a couple times. I've sanded it down. I've actually taken off the edges on a table saw and routed out the corners again a few times, but it's still excellent. Yeah, it's great. Nice and big. Big cutting boards are sort of essential cooking tools. Let's get that whisk again. Make sure we don't have any clumps here. All right. Looking good. So now we just got to let that simmer away. I'm going to start on the mushroom garnish. Got another nice copper pan here. And you don't have to use copper. You can use, tri-ply steel. You can use aluminum, whatever you got. You can even use nonstick. Get a shallot for those mushrooms. This guy's got a little funky looking center. I'm gonna get that layer out. You don't often see that in a shallot. Get that out. Okay. That looks all right. All right, so just like an onion here. Cross like that. Into a fine mince. What we're going to do is we're going to saute those mushrooms in butter and olive oil. Then we'll add in some shallots right at the very end. And I'm going to throw in actually some, actually, I'm going to go out and grab some thyme from the garden, which is flooded right now. Hang on a second. This guy can go down. Simmer, okay. Ooh. Here's the thyme. Let's grab a little handful of that. Okay. Got the time, probably more time than I need. In fact, definitely more time than I need. Look at this, got a lot of time on my hands. All right. Olive oil here. Did I put that butter back or did I leave it out? I left it out. Olive oil. Oh, look at you, little mite. Olive oil and butter. I'll put this back in the fridge. Okay, let's get that pumpkin going in there now also, because the polenta looks like it's actually starting to thicken up. All right, so just let that simmer nicely. In fact, I'm gonna put a little lid on it if I can find a lid. Lid. It's gonna fit. Will you fit? Will you fit? Yeah, you sort of fit. Good enough. Close enough. All right. All right, once that butter starts to sizzle, that's what we're looking for. Oh, yeah, these hinges are broken. People are asking about this spoon. The hinges are broken. That's why this spoon is there. It's not for earthquakes. It's not for child-proofness. It's just a broken door. In go the mushrooms. Get them nice and coated with salt, bit of pepper, black pepper. And now we're just going to let them sit for a little bit on one side so that they start to kind of brown nicely. And eventually we'll turn them over. We'll start tossing them and sauteing them a little bit more. I'm also going to grab a tiny bit of soy sauce. Soy sauce I find, well, I almost pretty much every time I saute mushrooms, I like to finish them off with a touch of soy sauce and also a touch of lemon. Oops, we have half a lemon here. A little touch of lemon. I find it really kind of brings out the mushroominess of the mushrooms, the soy sauce does, because, well, mushrooms are rich in glutamic acid. You know all that stuff, right? Glutamates, umami. That's what MSG essentially is. It's a source of glutamic acid, which gives us that sense of savoriness in our mouth. So mushrooms have a lot of it, and so you can kind of bolster that flavor by adding a touch of soy sauce, which also has a lot of it. Not so much that it tastes like soy sauce, but just a little bit, enough to add just a tiny bit of umami depth. You can also use fish sauce for that, or something like liquid aminos. Maggi seasoning, Vegemite, all those things that are really high in glutamic acid. All right, give thyme a little rough chop. How are we looking? There you go. So we got a little bit of browning going on there. That's what we're looking for. Hen of the Woods mushrooms are really one of my favorites. They're called Hen of the Woods because they look like a chicken tail. There you go. There you go. Nice kind of porridgey texture. Sorry, I keep calling it porridge. I don't know. What do you call porridge? I would say this is somewhere between a soup and a porridge. Let's taste how. I'm gonna get a little spoonful of this. Use that same pumpkin spoon. I'm sure it's gonna need some salt. Getting there. Got like a nice little sweetness from the leeks. Gonna double dip my spoon. Triple dip it just to piss off the commenters. All right, those mushrooms are starting to look good. Want them nice and brown on most sides. And we're aiming to have them done just about the same time that the polenta is done. Meanwhile, let me tell you a story about maybe like my 4th day on the job at Number 9 Park. Now that I'm reminded of Number 9 Park. So I was working the pasta station. So we have this gigantic, I don't know, it would hold maybe 30 gallons of water boiling, 8 different wells that you drop pasta into. And we had made gnocchi that day. Potato gnocchi was one of the most popular dishes there. But for some reason, the gnocchi that day were, I know why, it's because the person who normally made the gnocchi wasn't there. And so I was making it. And as we put them into the pasta water, they kept dissolving and falling apart. So the pasta water got full of basically just mashed potato and flour. And so eventually, at the end of the shift, when I was trying to drain the machine of water, the water wouldn't go down. The drain was completely clogged. And so thinking, you know what, now's my opportunity to really think on my feet and shine and show off for the chef. My first reaction was to run to the bathroom, grab the plunger, and go into the pasta machine and start plunging it. And it worked, and the water started going down. And then as I stood there like beaming, like I saw my chef just staring at me, you know, evil-eyed, like, what the hell are you thinking? And that was when I kind of realized what I'd done. I just stuck the toilet plunger into the pasta machine. And so I had to spend the next 4 hours, like, disassembling the machine and disinfecting every single part individually. It was not my finest moment, and it was not a great way to start my career. But, hey, I turned out okay, I think. All right, these mushrooms are there. Whoop. All right, shallots in, some thyme in. We don't want much color on those shallots, we just want to let them soften a tiny bit. Get a little more olive oil in here. All right, now I'm going to go into the squeeze of lemon. Actually, that's Meyer lemon. And this tiny splash of soy sauce. That's it. All right, and that's a good smelling mushroom garnish. Let me taste it. Very good. All right, I think we're almost there on this. Is that pumpkin soft yet? Let's see. Yeah, pumpkin's just about a couple minutes away, which means now we can Now we can add our kale. Stir in the kale. Let it soften a little bit. I'm going to thin this out with actually just a touch more water. If you have extra stock, you can thin it out with extra stock. That's generally a better way to do it because you're not diluting flavor that way. Need some more salt. I got boiling water here. This is my favorite feature in the kitchen, the boiling water dispenser. Came with it. I didn't even add that. Actually, the kitchen is like the one room in the house we didn't do any remodeling at all to. But which is why all the cabinets are not working. All right. Looking good. Oh, let me finish off on the salad. Some Mizuna greens. Do them in here. Sure, we don't need that many. There's only 3 of us. We'll do save half of that for later. For this, I'm actually just going to use, this is one of my favorite store-bought dressings. Soy and sesame. I get this at the Japanese market. It's like really good. Sometimes I come out at night and just suck it out of the bottle. I hope my wife did not hear that. All right. Pinch of salt. And do some tomatoes. Got some cucumbers in here somewhere. Make sure they're back here. There we go. Soup is ready. You can taste it one last time for seasoning. I'll do lunch in like 3 minutes. Look at that. I double dipped my spoon and I'm using 2 of them. Needs a little more salt and a little more pepper. Olive oil. That's great. I don't need to taste it. I need to dirty up yet another spoon, huh? That delicious flavored olive oil and butter mix in here. Picked up all that mushroom flavor, so you don't really want to lose any of it. Right, and then let's finish it off with a little thyme garnish. Some nice thyme flowers. Those are pretty, right? Pretty and edible is always nice. Nice combination. All right, I think we're looking pretty good. Let's get this here. Let's get our salad here. And that is a dirty spoon. There we go. This is lunch. Which I'm going to nab a bite of. That's good. Actually, so good I gotta take a picture. All right. I'm gonna see if Shaba wants a little taste of this. Here you go, Shaba. What do you think? I think that looks pretty damn good, huh? All right, let's eat. All right, dinner or lunch. Hey, sorry, so I realized that this dish probably uses a lot of ingredients you don't have the way I cooked it, but you can kind of think of it as a blank canvas. So you don't have to use kale, you can use spinach, you can use mustard greens, you can use whatever greens you have, or you can use no greens, use regular mushrooms, use basically any vegetable you want can go into here. Like if it goes into risotto, it could go into here. You could do like sliced sausages, anything you really want. And one thing I should have done is that I have these Parmesan rinds in the fridge. I should have simmered the Parmesan rinds with the polenta while I was cooking it because that's a perfect use for them. But instead I'm just going to grate some Parmesan over it at the end, which is close. Anyhow, Parmesan rind, this bit into the broth as it's simmering, and that'll make it extra delicious. All right, thanks guys.